Hi everyone, welcome to round 3 from Leeds. In this round I was black against Senan Al-Biatty, who doesn't have an ECF. I think he was quite new, but he seemed very keen. He was down as 1-3-1, but I was not taking him for granted, seeing as he'd must have beaten some 150 plus in round 1. But he did get pasted in round 2, but that was when he had black and this time he had white. He played d4. So another d4. You see, I never get e4 these days, which is very annoying because it's more fun to play against. Now 6, and now he played knight f3, and my heart sunk faster than the Titanic because I knew it was going to be a very boring opening. I played e6, and then he played bishop f4, and now I know it is going to be a boring opening because it's a London system where White just develops his pieces in a rather boring reverse Slavs type setup. So he'll put his pawn on e3 and c3, knight and d2, bishop d3. It's just very dry. It's very hard to create win chances as black as well, but it's quite easy to equalise against. So I did my trusty Queen's Indian setup. Shiv Sel versus Matthew Parsons. So now I take, and now I've got the I've unbalanced it now. Because if you take with the other pawn, I found out it's bad taking with c pawn because you can play knight h5 and nab that bishop. But now I've got an extra central pawn, but White's got more space. And I'm playing this. I don't like playing like this against low ratings because it's just not very much of a winning attempt. Just dry. And I played a4. This is all been played before. This is all theory. So the point is now I'm playing a6 because I want to play that move anyway. Because I want to play Queen c7 later, and I want b5 to be covered for any potential knights. But another factor is that if I can answer a5 now with b5, but Queen b1 now, this is where I started to get confused me. I started to spend a lot of time. Played bishop f8, doing my plan of freeing Qa2 and the other bishop as well, to try and get e5 in. Now I played bishop g3, which is a bit odd. Played Queen c7. Now knight came to g5. Threatening to take an h7, so I've got to play g6. But I want to play g6 anyway. I expected knight e4, but now I played Queen a2. And now I start getting a bit worried about his potential sacrifices right around my king. It went some lines because there's a lot of pressure on e6 now. It's 3 pieces on it. Because I can't play e5 because f7 hangs. So the moves I wanted to play were, I was worried if I played h6. I was worried he might just sack something. I was worried about sacking on f7. As king takes f7. Queen back to b1, g5, but then I think it's pretty harmless. This White gets his material back, but black ends up with a better position. I was also worried about this sack as well, but this one's actually not so great because I've got this in between move, otherwise it will be quite strong. So I played bishop d5 trying to provoke c4 so I could get close that diagonal and maybe get some pressure on d4, but he refused to be provoked to play Queen b1, and I played e5 before he might stop me from playing e5 if I'm not careful. And now he played knight gf3. I thought I expected him to take actually first, but when I take back, and then this seems quite good for black. Now if knight gf3, we can still play knight h5, try and get rid of that bishop. And then maybe follow with f5. I played knight g3, I played knight h5 hitting his bishop. Now bishop h2. This is where I went wrong. I should definitely played f5 in this position, but I don't know. I was getting really paranoid. I was worried about this sack, but it's rubbish. Just play knight back to g7. Queen moves back to d3, and White's only got 2 pawns at piece. And he's giving up an important bishop. It can't be good. I was worried about it, so I thought I'd play knight g7 first to now play f5 next. But the problem is now I played g4, stopping me playing f5, and now I started to really struggling to find a plan. I spent ages on this move. I took Queen b7, so very far behind the clock, so it was quite quick it was. Queen b7, I thought I was doing anything to bishop e4. The bishop takes c4, queen takes c4, d5. Queen goes back to c2, e4. I don't look at this, but I thought this is quite good for White. But this seems better for black. Instead I took on d4. And now I expect him to take the rooks off first, but if he actually played the best, maybe he played knight takes d4, because you don't want an isolated pawn, and this knight is pretty strong. And white's getting very active now. I took an e1 with check, I played queen takes e1, I brought a knight into c5 with tempo, which is one of the disadvantages of taking back with the knight. Bishop came to sack to c2, and I swung the rook across, queen f1. And now I'm getting paranoid about b4 and queen takes a6. But it's actually a good move. I just brought the bishop back to b7. And also, of course, now white has to be very careful, because if his knight moves, then I've got queen c6 with mating threats on h1 and g2 potentially. Rook came to e1. I decided playing the low rated, I'll keep the pieces on, and it's best move anyway. I played knight g6. This is slightly better for black, this position, because white's king's a lot more exposed. So this actually turned out quite exciting, this real London system. But the thing with the against these dull d4 knight e3 openings is you have to wait a long time before anything fun happens, and I can be quite impatient and lash out at times. But this hedgehog system I think has improved my chess quite a lot, and I would recommend it for anyone to enter the London system. The plan is just basically if you kettle the bishop and play c5 and d6, knight to f3. Bishop came to g7, finally getting the bishop to g7 several moves after I played g6. Queen c4, trying to probe my position. I played another good move, queen d7, which adds potential pressure to a4, protects my rook so I can take his knight if I want, and enables some tactics. In this position I think I should have took rid my knight actually, just to get rid of the tactics. And after I was going to play f takes c6 actually and get maybe I've got hanging pawns now, but I think they're more strong than weak because they're quite hard to attack. Let's say knight d2, queen c6, mate threat, has to play f3, and then we've got d5, and then e5. Quite dangerous on whiteness, but it's better than what he plays because he blunders with queen b4, which is just a complete blunder. There's two winning moves actually, see if you can spot them. I played the inferior of the two, well, three winning moves. I played one of the inferior ones. I played knight takes d4, which does win, but difference is now, the problem is with my last move, because the rook was protected, I've got some tactics now, and you see all white's pieces are a bit loose here, they're all only protected once, but knight g5 is just a complete killer, which seems strange putting a knight on pre, but now that knight is attacked twice and defended once. If the knight is taken, then the rook's hanging with checkmate. So the knight's immune. If we take this guy, after we take back, now what does white do? Because again, if knight takes g5, we've got a mate 1. The knight is attacked twice. If it moves, say to h4, oh, it's mate anyway. So what can white do? Knight is losing the piece. So I played knight takes d4, which I seen was winning. If he plays rook takes e8, the point is if he plays rook takes e8 check. After, oh, I've done it again. Queen takes e8. C takes d4. I was going to play queen e2. I'd seen this. Forking two pieces. If d takes c5, we play queen takes f3. Threatening mate. The only defense is king f1. We take this and win the bishop. Going back, if white tries to protect his pieces with queen c3, then the problem is his bishop's attacked twice, and if d takes c5 now, then his queen's pinned. Not good. He played c takes d4, which is the best try, and now I played the brilliant move. Well, not brilliant, but quite good. Bishop takes f3, which wins the material. If rook takes e8, the point is if rook takes e8 check, queen takes e8, there's no time to take that. If you take the knight, then actually this transposes. So you play d takes c5, d takes c5 because b6 is on pre, and I want to connect my pawns. Takes queen d2. Now bishop takes b2 because bishop takes g6. Because if you try bishop takes g6 in this position, we just take it because the bishop's immune due to checkmate. So now white's two pawns up, but we're getting really short time. Only a few minutes left to make the time control. If I have 4 moves to make, bishop d4 blocking it, and now I've got bishop c7. attacking the pawn on b6. Now in this position I should just let the pawn go with bishop b7, because the pawn can never be taken, because that's double attack, or that's just mating on h1 g2. I played queen c6 after using a lot of my valuable time, and now I actually have the queen f4. It's actually starting to look very difficult because there's a threat now on f7, and now I think I have to play bishop d5 in this position, but I didn't like it because I saw gains a pawn back. But after queen b3, if check, play king g7, black should still win this. I used most of my remaining time on c4, which is just bad because he took the bishop, and now I've got to take this one. But again, the bishop takes c4, bishop b7. It's going to be hard to understand because it's starting to look hard to win. I'm only a pawn up and white's more active. But I took this one instead, which is just horrible because I had very little time left. There's just lots of bishops opposite colour, and the problem is now this check. King g7. All I'd seen was, the only thing I'd actually seen was this. After which f6, and there was nothing. My pawn's probably going to queen, but I just didn't see this, and maybe he's completely overlooked it. He offered a draw at this point. I'm surprised at that, because I'm surprised he offered a draw, because it's easy for me to go wrong. I could have just gone king 86 and got mated on the spot. That'd be rather embarrassing. I played f6, I rejected it. I played queen e7 check. So now, if king h8, that's mating 1. The only move to draw is king g8, because after bishop takes f6. In fact, I'm the one who has to do the perpetual. It's interesting now actually, because I have to play this move always to draw. That's just a perpetual. But if I play this one, I actually lose. Because now after king f4, white's king is now safe, and in fact I'm getting mated, forced mate. So that's interesting. But I played king a6. Oh my god, why did I play this move? This is just horrendous. Gone from completely won to completely lost. And in fact, I'm very lucky in this position that he played the drawing move, bishop f4 check, and after g5 it's just to draw this, so we'll really draw here. But if in this position, all I had to do, I thought that queen f8 check. This shows how bad my calculation is. It's just horrendous. I just can't calculate anything. Because I had time at this point, so I got from 15 minutes back, so I couldn't make any excuses about time. This just wins. I thought it was winning for me. I thought I'd calculate king g5, and of course all I'd seen in this position was that white didn't have a single check, safe check. The only problem is white has bishop takes f6 check, because I have to take the queen, and then h4 deflects my king from the queen, so I'm losing my queen. Ouch. But luckily I didn't have his shooting boots on as well, so got swindled again, but it could have been a lot worse. So I could have lost that game and crucified my grade even more. But yeah, I now ran the whopping score of 1.5, but an unbeaten 1.5. But the problem is it's 3 draws, and I should have won 2 of them. So I was quite disappointed. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and please leave any comments and thoughts. Thanks very much.